Hi everybody, I hope everybody is getting super excited for the upcoming holidays. In this video, I am going to show you how to create, design, and cut these mini box or mini bag packaging ornaments. And this is part one of how to design a print then cut file using any branding that fits your style. And if you would like to see part two of the assembly, be sure to check that out after this video. Please subscribe, like this video, and share with a friend who you think may enjoy this adorable ornament tutorial, as it really does help support and keep my channel running. Before we get started, I do want to mention that I have taken all of the guesswork out of creating and designing the correct sizing, shape, and proportions of these boxes. If you would like to purchase the blank SVG, I will leave the link down in the description below. That way that this saves you time and you can design these boxes with any brand that you'd like or that fits your style, as I'll show you in this video. Now, you can do this yourself in Design Space with shapes and score lines and welding it all together, but for time's sake, I'm not going to go into full detail on creating the actual shape and sizes of these boxes. So the first thing that you'll want to do is Google and find brands, logos, and embellishments that you're going to be using for your package. So for example, I'm going to be creating a Chanel inspired packaging. So I just search for brands, logo, and then PNG, and I also do that for any of the embellishments, which I know that Chanel has this flower on their packaging, so I just typed in Chanel flower PNG and then I just save and download it. Now you're going to want to make sure that it's a PNG file, because we need it to have this transparent background, because we will then be overlaying this on top of our packaging for the print and cut. So once in Design Space, you'll upload your logos and embellishments, and if you decide to grab the template, now is the time for you to upload that as well. So first we're going to move the logos and embellishments to the top of the layers panel if they aren't already, because Design Space works in order. So anything above the previous layer is what will be seen as the front layer. So next, we're going to resize them and begin to place them on where and how you would like. I just kind of eyeball it as best as possible and make sure that they're not too big or too small to make it realistic looking. And when you're doing this, you'll want to stay within this panel here, as this is the front of the shopping bag and this is the back. So you'll have to duplicate what you did to the front and move it over to put it on to the back of the bag. So I want all of my packaging to be black, which I'll change later on. So that means that I have to change the color of the logo so that you'll be able to see it on the black bag. And in order to do that, we're going to select our logos, and then we're going to come up here to fill and change this from print to no fill. So that does make it a cut layer, but we're going to change that in 1 second. So then you're just going to come to the color palette, and I'm going to grab white because I want white against a black background. And I'm going to change that. And then once I change the color, I'm going to come back up here to fill and hit print. So it changed it back to a cut and print, and it also changed it to the color that I need. So after everything is placed to your liking, we're going to come to the top of the layers panel up here, and we're going to ungroup all of these layers down here. And this is only going to ungroup the entirety of this design here. So we're going to have to eventually go in to each box and ungroup each individual grouping or layering one at a time. So I'm going to select the entire design, and then I'm going to hit ungroup. And this made it ungroup into smaller individual groups. So I'm going to just find this layer right here and just work on the shopping bag and turn and collapse all of these other layers off for now. So here is our first individually grouped layer. So let's ungroup and separate the score lines from the solid shape. And as you can see, both say cut, so we need to fix that. But to do that, we will select the score lines first, and then, so I just ungrouped it. We're going to select the score lines first, and then we're going to come up here to line type. We're going to hit the drop down menu and select score. Now to work on the shape layer, we want to first change the color. So we're going to select the shape. We're going to come up here to our color palette, and we're going to select it as black. Now you won't be able to see the score lines since they are also black, but if you turn on and off this shape layer, you can see that the score lines are still there. From here, we need to make this shape a print then cut, but we also want our layer and embellishments to be printed along with this shape. So we're going to select all of our embellishments and layers and move this right above our shape layer. So now you can see that they came back up to the front and you can see them. So we're going to keep our score line as the very first layer because we want the score layer to stay as far away as possible from these other layers, because we're going to select all of these and flatten them, and we don't accidentally want to flatten our score lines. So first we're going to select the shape and then select the logo and the embellishments. And then we're going to come down here to the bottom of the layers panel and hit flatten. Now once we do this, the score lines are going to be on the bottom and this layer is going to be on the top. So we're going to have to change that. But let's flatten it first. Okay. So there we go. We flattened the shape, the logo, and the embellishments. So we need to move the score lines back up on top because we don't want them to get hidden under our shape layer. And the reason that we flatten all of those layers, there was four or five layers. The reason that we flatten is because we're telling Design Space that we want to take all 4 or 5 of those layers and smush and flatten them into one or the same actionable print layer. Now this next step is important because I know many of you were having trouble getting it to print, then score, then cut as one action on the same mat. So in order to keep print and the score and the cutting as one action, we need to tell Design Space to keep our score lines and our print and cut layer together by linking them with the attach button at the bottom of the layers panel. So you're going to select your score layer, select your print and cut shape layer, and hit attach. And a way to check this is by hitting make it. And then this is what we want right here. You're going to see this little dialog box that's going to tell you exactly the steps that your Cricut is going to take and the actions that it's going to take and how many mats these actions are going to be performed on. So it's going to be performed on one mat. It's first going to print, then it's going to score, and then it's going to cut. And this is what we want. These right here, don't worry about those because those are our registration lines. The Cricut will need to know exactly where to cut once we have this printed. And if you do decide to make a design that is, let's say, like a white box, you won't be able to see this outline of the shape if you do select a shape that is white. Those will be completely gone and you're going to just see like your logo and maybe the embellishment, but don't freak out because they are still there. It's just for some reason when we do a white shape against the white print and cut box here, they don't show up. So now you're just going to turn each layer back on and repeat the same exact steps that we just did for our shopping bag layer. So I'm going to do that and then I will be right back and show you what to do next. Now for this box here, I do want to mention that even if you don't plan on putting any logos or embellishments on this smaller tiny square box, say you just want it to be black to match the other boxes, you're still going to ungroup this layer and change the color, but instead of cutting it, you're still going to come up here to the fill layer and hit print. So instead of flattening it, because we have no other layers to attach and flatten it, you're just going to select that shape layer and then come up to fill and hit print so that it still makes it a print and cut layer. Okay, so now that I created all of the boxes to be a print and cut layer with the score lines, you can see that I have all of the attached layers over here. And keep in mind that print and cut can only read a 6.75 inches wide by 9.25 inches long size design. So it might take some rotating and moving around to get these laid out to be that 6x9 readable size. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to rotate and flip some of the angles of these boxes so that I can get it to fit in a 6x9 frame. Okay, so as you can see here, I kept the shopping bag straight across how it was, and then I flipped this box to a 90-degree angle, and I flipped this box to a 270-degree angle, and then this small square box I flipped to a 90-degree angle, and just put them as close as possible as I could without them overlapping. So when I select all of the layers, you can see it's going to allow me to print then cut this because it's within that 6.75 wide and 9.25 inch frame. So once they're complete and you have everything selected, all of your already attached layers, you're going to then also select attach to attach the attached layers so that we can tell Cricut that we want all of these layers on the same mat and as one action. So we'll just hit make it, or I'm sorry, we'll hit attach. Then we're going to hit make it. And there we go. You can see over here in the dialog box that these are the actions that we want, and in the exact steps that we want. Print first, score second, cut last, and it's going to keep all of it on one mat. So I hope that this video has helped a little bit. If you'd like to see how I fold and put these boxes and ornaments together, please head on over to part 2 of this video for the entire assembly. And as always, please be sure to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and share with those who you think would like to create these ornaments. Thanks!